How many of you have dreams you would like to turn into reality? Show your hand. How many of you had a dream that you let go of? I am not speaking about losing another 5 pounds or being a celebrity or millionaire. I am talking about those dreams that we spend lifetime silencing because what will others tell about us? Because we need to be realistic? Because there is no money in it? Because we must concentrate on more important things? These are the dreams that we share as a kids, as teenagers, and even in our early 20s. These dreams give us sense of purpose, direction, a place where we can have an impact to live a meaningful life. The dream to be on the stage, on the team, entrepreneur, to fly, to climb, to push boundaries. We should never let this dream go, regardless of those that doubt us, discourage us, point to the hardship. Yes, it's tough to get to the summit, but the journey is worthwhile. I am an ordinary woman, I am a mother, I am a lawyer, and I am also a mountain climber. This year, I accomplished my dream. I climbed Mount Everest. I stood on the summit of the world and became the first one in my family and the first Israeli woman that summited Mount Everest. Living your dream is a life worth living. But as we all know, it's not that simple. Just as there no clear line up a mountain and there is no direct path to accomplish your dream, you cannot go from base camp to the peak in one day. And when we are climbing a mountain, in order to succeed along difficult paths, you need to take with you a backpack full of patience, persistence, and passion. My path was certainly not a straight path. I was born in Russia and growing up in Siberia. I was exposed to the Soviet-Russian rigid discipline. For my mother, nothing I did was ever good enough. Never satisfied, never encouraging, never enough. No kisses, no hugs, no supportive word. My father, who was a pilot in the Air Force, was killed in Afghanistan when I was a child. After his death, my mother struggled to provide the basic necessities for grandmother, my sisters, and myself. Life was difficult in Russia. When I was 10 years old, we moved to Israel. We were allowed to leave Soviet Union only with one suitcase and $100. We started our new life in new country. We had nothing. We knew no one. And my mother had to focus on our survival and made sure we did the same. She and my grandmother would repeatedly say to me, "Stop dreaming. Stand with both feet on the ground. Whoever dreams ends up disappointed." And my grandmother's favorite one, "With dreams, you don't go to the grocery store." I am sure many of you have heard similar discouraging comments when you were growing up. I remember when I was 14, my twin sister Yana and I were accepted into a dance school. We were so excited, we rushed home to ask our mother if we could join. I will never forget her response. Without a moment of hesitation, she said, "Are you crazy? Ballet is not profession. Choose something that is real profession and not a waste of time or waste of money." I was taught not to dream. I was taught not to love life. I was taught to survive. But I always have dreams. Then 10 years ago, I had an accident. I fell from a ski lift and shattered my right leg. The damage was so severe, doctors couldn't tell me if I walk again or if I could walk, whether I would need crutches. It was a devastating fall. But the paradox was that from the lowest place during my stay in the hospital, when I was struggling to walk, I began dreaming again. I didn't care that doctors said I may never walk again. I made up my mind. I promised myself to climb Everest and to reach the highest place in the world. No one I knew had ever climbed Everest. Actually, I didn't know anything about climbing mountain at all. But I had this dream and wouldn't let it go, despite how crazy everyone around me thought it was. Despite my mother's criticism, despite going against the norms of society, despite the metal plates all down my right leg, and my own inner critic was telling me that I was crazy. However, I got up every morning and trained and trained and trained. I learned how to climb a mountain, and then another mountain. When I could, I went off to climb another mountain, and then 10 mountains, 20 mountains, 30 mountains. I stood far above the peak of Mont Blanc. I saw sunrise from Mount Ararat and a flaming sunset from Mount Aconcagua. And so, in April 2021, I arrived at base camp, prepared to face the seemingly insurmountable challenge of climbing Everest. The extreme freezing temperature, snowstorms, avalanches, the danger of frostbite, crevasses in the ice that can swallow you up without warning, and lack of oxygen that can make you delusional. Nothing is tailored for a woman. Not the equipment, not the climbing suit. During my expedition, I even forget my gender, whether I am boy or a girl. And I am no longer talking about performing basic needs. As a woman, we need special device in order to do our needs inside the pee bottle. The constant difficulty of breathing makes even the smallest task challenging. Just putting on my climbing boots can take more than half an hour. And preparing water for the soup from melting snow can take more than an hour. But the hardest of all was the feeling of not being able to breathe. To reach the peak, you must acclimatize. Without acclimatization, there is no chance of summiting Everest. Climbers call it sawing the mountain. Going backwards and forwards from base camp to camp 1 and back to the base camp, from camp 1 to camp 2 and back to the base camp, and repeat it again and again and again in order to adapt your body to less oxygen. It took 2 months of patience, persistence, and passion to reach the summit of the world. Finally, I stand on the summit of Everest and look down at the rest of the surrounding giant mountains of Himalayan range. From here, they look so small. I'm a small person, but up there, I felt so tall. Mountain climbing strips away all your layers, all your masks. You are at your most vulnerable and most authentic. When I was a child, having only $100 in one suitcase felt like a big disadvantage. On the mountain, carrying one bag on my back was liberating, not limiting. I was carried forward by that spark within me, my passion to accomplish my dream with meaning for me. This spark stayed with me throughout my training, base camp, and climb, and will stay with me forever. All of you have a spark inside in you too, a need to dream, deep inside. It will make you come alive again. It will ignite in you a passion for life. So, I urge you today, first, dig deep to find your dream and hold tightly onto it despite the social pressure and your own fears. Say it loud to yourself, shout it to the universe. Don't wait for an accident until it's too late. Second, once you find your Everest, make a plan and start to take action. When you act according to the plan, you will gain the skills, confidence, and conviction to stick to it and stand up any criticism. Third, and most importantly, when you are living your dream, you are at your most authentic, passionate, and powerful self. And then you can empower others to reach their own Everest. When I came home from Everest expedition, I was greeted by my mother, who had a big smile on her face. She said, "Great, now you have got over with that? Finally, you can focus on something important?" I smiled and felt good. I already was planning my next expedition to climb highest mountain in Antarctica. Thank you.